Okay, so today we're going deep on,
Oh, the back room.
yeah, the back rooms. You know that internet legend about like accidentally,
Flipping through reality.
yeah, clipping through
Yeah.
reality into this,
Endless maze.
yeah, this endless maze of just empty rooms, right?
Yeah,
Kind of a
yeah.
creepy yellow tinged
Yellow.
yellow. So we've got a bunch of sources here talking about where it came from, like 4chan,
Yeah.
how it became,
A meme.
a meme. And we're even going to talk about Alex, this artist who maybe got,
Oh, a little too close.
yeah, a little too close to the back rooms.
Well, I think, one of the things about the backrooms that's really fascinating to me is how it kind of taps into something.
Primal.
Yeah. Primal. Like,
Fear.
yeah. And it's not even just about being lost. It's,
The unsettling familiarity.
yes, that's the word. Unsettling familiarity. Like, those sterile office buildings or like endless hallways we've all been in. But it's like,
Stretched into infinity.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's no,
Escape.
yeah.
And you've talked about liminal spaces before, like those in-between places that are, unsettling. How does the back rooms fit into all that?
Okay, so think about classic liminal spaces, right? Empty school hallways at night, or like abandoned malls. And they're unsettling because they're meant for transition, not for like living in, right. But the back rooms, it takes that familiar, transitional architecture, it twists it, right? Into this permanent state of unease, like it's a liminal space you can leave.
Leave.
Yeah.
And it's not just the architecture, right? There are all these specific details, like visual and audio cues that the creators use to enhance that feeling.
Absolutely, yeah, like those stained carpets and
Flickering lights.
flickering fluorescent lights, right. And yeah, that ever-present hum. These aren't just like random details, They play on our psychological, I don't know.
Vulnerabilities.
Vulnerabilities, yeah. Like think about horror movies. They use sound design to like
Build tension.
build tension.
Right.
The Backrooms does the same thing, but with visuals and sounds that are like totally mundane, but also really unsettling.
Yeah, like that constant humming. It's almost like a sensory deprivation thing.
Yeah,
Driving
to the edge.
the edge, yeah.
Yeah.
Repetitive patterns, lack of
Yeah.
stimulation that can induce like anxiety and disorientation in real life, The Backrooms takes those elements and it's like it weaponizes them.
Yeah.
Creates a digital space that feels both familiar and intensely threatening.
So you've got this creepy setting, this primal fear of being lost, and then you add in the whole, like,
Little clip.
yeah, the new clip concept, like the idea of,
Glitching through reality.
yeah, glitching through reality, like in a video game.
Oh, no clipping. It's not even just like a video game glitch. It's almost like a metaphor for our, anxieties about
Yeah.
what technology can do.
Mhm.
Like, what if reality is as fragile as a few lines of code? What if we can just like fall through the cracks?
Mm.
Which brings us to Alex, our digital artist from the source material. He becomes obsessed with visualizing the back rooms, creating these, hyper-realistic images that really like captured it,
Yeah.
the essence.
And that's where things get really
Interesting.
interesting, right? Because Alex's work, it really blurs those lines
That's
between art and reality. He takes a digital space that's inspired by an urban legend and he makes it like tangible, almost believable through these carefully crafted
visuals.
Yeah, visual.
And then he gets this message from this anonymous user asking if he wants to experience the back rooms.
Oh, for real.
For real. Which, come on, that's already
Red flag.
big red flag.
And that raises a big question.
Yeah.
What even is real? In a world that's so intertwined with
Technology.
Right. We have VR experiences that feel so real. People spending hours in these online worlds. It's like,
Where you draw the line.
yeah, where do you even draw the line anymore?
So this user, they sent Alex a file.
Oh, called backroomsnoclip.exe.
Backroomsnoclip.exe. And like against all logic, he
runs it.
He runs it.
I mean, think about it, right? This act of clicking on a file, it's like that anxiety about no clipping, right? Alex is literally breaking through the boundaries of this thing he created.
Yeah.
It's a leap of faith into who knows what.
And then the description of what happens next. It's terrifying. The screen flashes and he's like in his creation. He's in
some back rooms.
He's in the back rooms. The carpet, the smell, the hum, it's
all there.
It's all there.
It's like our understanding of perception gets challenged. Our minds are so powerful they can be tricked into accepting virtual experiences as real, especially when those experiences, tap into our primal fears. Alex isn't just seeing his creation, he's experiencing it with every sense.
And it's not just, seeing it. It's like he's in this
labyrinth.
Yeah, he's in this digital labyrinth.
Yeah.
And he goes through these rooms that are like
familiar,
but
distorted.
Distorted, yeah, like twisted versions of places he's been in real life.
That distortion is so important. It plays on that whole uncanny valley thing. You know, when something is almost human,
But not quite.
but not quite. And it's unsettling because our brains can't really like categorize it.
Yeah.
But in the back rooms, it's not just people, it's the whole environment.
And then there's this part where he runs into, like,
His doppelganger.
yeah, his doppelganger in one of the hallways.
I mean, that's like straight out of Jung, you know? The shadow self.
Oh,
Representing all those fears and desires we try to like repress. And in the back rooms, those fears literally take shape.
And then right as the doppelganger is about to, like, I don't know.
Attack him.
Yeah, attack you. He wakes up back in his room, soaked in sweat. And his computer just says,
Simulation complete.
simulation complete.
Talk about an ambiguous ending. I mean, was it real? Was it a simulation? Hallucination. It's like those sleep paralysis stories.
Yeah.
You know, the feeling of being trapped, this presence. The back rooms, it's like it taps into that same primal fear, blurring the lines between waking and dreaming.
It really makes you question, you know.
What's real?
Yeah, what is real?
Mm-hmm.
If your mind can be tricked into believing something digital is actually real.
Then what can you trust?
Yeah, what can you trust?
That's a question philosophers have been debating forever.
Yeah.
But the back rooms, it makes it so relevant, you know, for the digital age. It's like this reminder that technology is evolving so much faster than our understanding of how it affects
Our minds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And our perception of, you know,
Reality.
reality. Yeah.
Okay, so we've got Alex who, stumbled into this digital nightmare. But what about the back rooms? Like, as a phenomenon?
Yeah.
Our sources talk about how it, like, evolved as this meme and how it's inspired other creators.
It's a perfect example of internet folklore.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it started with a single image on 4chan,
Yep.
but it was so vague, so open-ended that it just like took off.
Yeah.
It's like digital campfire story, you know? Each person adds their own little spin, their own fears, and suddenly you have this whole
Mythology.
mythology,
Yeah.
built around this one creepy idea.
And then it goes into, like, other media, right? Fan videos, short films, even video games.
It's a collaborative storytelling project, feeding off our anxieties about the digital world.
You mentioned before how the back rooms reflects our anxieties about technology.
Mm.
Do you think there's something about how, like, simple it is that makes it so, I don't know,
Unsettling.
unsettling?
Totally.
Yeah.
Because traditional horror, it relies on those tangible threats. Monsters, ghosts, whatever. But the back rooms, the threat is the environment. It's the emptiness, the feeling of being trapped. Yeah, like in a system you can't escape. It's a metaphor for those anxieties we have about the digital world.
Like being overwhelmed with information.
Yeah, lost in the algorithms, bombarded with, all this
Stimuli.
Yeah, stimuli.
It's like that feeling of scrolling through social media for hours and suddenly
You've lost track of time.
you've lost track of time. You're like,
You've no-clipped into the void.
it's not just like fear. It's
That's
more.
existential dread.
Yeah. So it's not really about like fearing a specific outcome. It's more the feeling of losing control.
Yeah. It's like you're adrift with no anchor. And it's even worse because the backrooms is always
Changing.
evolving. Yeah, expanding with all these new creators. It's like a living nightmare feeding off our anxieties.
But it's not all like
Doom and gloom.
doom and gloom, right? It's also like,
Creative?
yeah, there's a lot of creative potential. Using the backrooms as this canvas to explore all these complex
Emotions.
yeah, and anxieties about our,
Digital world.
digital world.
It's a double-edged sword, right? On one hand, it reflects our deepest fears about technology. But on the other hand, it gives us this platform for creative expression,
Yeah.
a way to process those fears, explore the darker side of the digital landscape.
It's like a digital Rorschach test,
Oh, I like that.
Everyone sees something different in it. But it sparks this,
Conversation.
yeah, this conversation about where our digital future is headed.
And that's the value, right? It's not just a scary story. It's a reflection of our, collective consciousness, a way to process those fears and maybe, find a way to live in this digital world.
Speaking of, processing fears,
Yeah.
do you think Alex's experience, even though it was terrifying, was kind of like a way for him to confront his fears?
That's an interesting way to look at it. It could be seen as a form of exposure therapy. He dives into his digital nightmare and comes out maybe shaken, but also kind of
Free.
free. He deleted that file and vowed never to go back, but maybe facing those fears in the virtual world gave him back a sense of control.
It's like a cautionary tale with a glimmer of
Hope.
Yeah.
Mm.
The digital world can be overwhelming, but we have the power to,
Set boundaries.
set boundaries, yeah.
Yeah.
Choose how we engage with it and be aware. So it's like
Mm.
a warning sign.
Oof.
Hey, pay attention to how much you're using technology.
Mm.
And,
Have a healthy relationship with it.
yeah. So as we're wrapping up our deep dive on the back rooms, what's like the one thing you want our listener to take away?
I think, the back rooms, even though it's not real, it shows like real anxieties about our digital lives. It reminds us that technology can be disorienting, even manipulative. But I think it's also about,
Empowerment.
yeah, empowerment. We have the power to choose how we use technology, to set boundaries, and to be aware. We can explore, the digital world without getting lost in it.
Yeah, I like that. It's a reminder that we're not just,
Consuming it.
yeah, consuming it, we're shaping it.
Exactly. And by understanding, how it affects us, we can use it better.
This has been pretty fascinating and kind of creepy.
It has.
Thanks for joining me.
My pleasure.
And to our listener, remember, next time you're feeling, lost in the digital world, take a step back.
Yeah.
You have the power to choose your path.